viruses are like, wait, so that's the trick? I can stick in this host for a while?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I'll just alter my...
Yeah, it's just like...
Pass it from Johnny to Susie, and then it becomes a little bit mutated so it can come back around in a month.
It's just like, all I have is just stuffy nose.
Really?
And I'm tired because I work with kids.
Yeah. And do you have seasonal allergies? I can't believe I'm your father and I'm asking this question.
Well, I might, honestly. I was talking to my wife a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying that, like, apparently sometimes they can hit once you hit your mid-20s.
Oh, wow.
Like, once people have turned 25, a lot of people start experiencing allergies. And after the first road race of the year, I started to get, like, a little bit of, like, a dry throat, stuffy nose. And this came up, like, the night after the first Wednesday night mountain bike race.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was, a cause of it, or just getting a lot of dirt in my mouth.
It doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right with your mouth closed.
Yeah, from here on out.
You catch bees with
Says the guy who's got bees in his mouth. Before we begin, sponsor mentions from some of our great supporters, everybody. Muck Off. Clean bikes are happy bikes. Clean drivetrains are fast drivetrains. You need to care for your investment or it will fail. Muck Off is the way. Degreasers, cleaners, sprays, and all the tools needed to get things running. Be like me and just grab the refills. They make little powder refills. You dump into a bottle, you just give it a shake, and you're ready to rock. Save on bottles, plastic, and all of the other waste. Use the link at packfiller.com. Untapped maple, pure Vermont maple syrup at its core. You know it is clean, pure energy. Natural flavors to enhance the process with a smooth, easily digestible texture. You are all but guaranteed to cross the line. Untapped maple. And finally, Scratch Labs. I know 2 fueling sponsors. Why? Is that competing? No, because we can combine the two. We feel through personal experience that this is truly the best combo of products to fuel over any distance. Scratch Labs has the best flavor variety, and their high-carb option is perfect distance fuel you can put in your bottle. Right in your bottle. Stick that in your bottle. Scratch fuels for all of us, and we couldn't be happier. Let's go play bikes. Okay, let's go play bikes. I've been sleepy all day. Is anybody else?
Yeah, I really
We seem kind of low. No, Paul's got it.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and I are in the wrong gig.
Yeah, I know. I woke up and it was just like, gosh, I am like just beat. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Okay. It is a Monday, which might throw some of you off. If you have caught us live, that means you follow us on social media. Thank you for doing that. You didn't miss anything. We're a day early to accommodate for my 30th wedding anniversary, which would be on our regular day. Last thing that needs to happen is on podcast nights, I don't want this to sound like I am a kicker for the Chiefs, but on podcast nights, my wife does dinner. And so the last thing I need on my 30th anniversary is to come upstairs after the podcast and go, "Where's dinner?"
Yeah.
With 2 beers on your breath.
2 beers in my breath. From drinking beer, walk upstairs,
and your man cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, woman.
Where is it?
Where's the dinner?
Why aren't you living your pure vocation and making me dinner? Oh, Jesus. So we didn't do that. So we're doing it a night early. Let's get to the longest running cycling podcast on the internet. The internet. Let's start with our prologue question for tonight. This is going to be one of a little painful memories, everybody. What is a day from your grade school years that you wish you could have just avoided completely? Give you a second to think about it. We have a much reduced staff tonight. No Waples. We are Waples free. So first off, he's the guy who bought post-ride beers on Saturday. Mr. Paul Main, how are you, man?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Grade school. Tough time.
Yeah.
What was harder, grade school, junior high, or high school?
For me, it was 3rd grade. It was like the worst year in my life.
Really?
When I was in 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
where
it
the
was
story's
nasty.
coming from?
Yeah, I think it was 3rd grade.
Okay.
I got a hack.
You got a what?
I got a hack from the principal back when they used to hack people. I got in a fight with this guy named Jody Mars. And because he was stealing a jump rope from a girl, and I just didn't think it was fair. And I took it away from him, and he pushed me, and I pushed him, and I started slugging it out. And I'll never forget, he stuck his thumb inside my mouth and started pulling on my cheek. I thought, what are you doing?
This bully boy, Jody boy.
No, he wasn't a bully.
No, but he put his.
Yeah, we were wrestling around. I got a couple of shots into him, and
Wow.
and then of course the
Principal.
Well, yeah, they sent us to the principal office during recess, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a hack.
What's a hack?
Spanking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
with the wooden paddle.
Corporal punishment.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
yeah.
it back then. I had 3. That
Really?
one I had in first grade. That was just stupid, because I was throwing dirt on girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's flirting.
No, it was this guy named Barry. I don't even
Oh.
know because it was first grade and I was in the Meade School District then.
Yeah.
And Barry, I don't know how he coaxed me into throwing dirt at girls.
Really?
And then we lied, and that's what got us the hack.
Oh.
And then in 8th grade, we wouldn't go in during lunch break because I was playing baseball and I wanted to strike this guy out. And so
a hack.
I got 3.
I'm not that much older than you, and
know.
I have never been spanked by an adult. Well, no, I paid for that. I'm joking, Jackson.
Archer, like Archer with a paddle.
Exactly. Okay, that was a hell of a way to start it. Next off, he's the guy who brought the watts on Saturday, Mr. Jackson Bolger. I'm going to get into the talk about this goddamn ride, and you were just like, I got it, guys, follow me.
Yeah.
Insane. I'm going to probably find a reason to be another bad parent, but what was a moment from your school years that you wish you could have avoided? Where to start, right?
Yeah. Can I pick first grade through 7th grade?
Just
I pick all those years.
Really?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
I had a rough go in grade school. Realistically, what would I have picked? I thought in high school, maybe the day that I broke my hip was the day that I wish I could have avoided.
Yeah.
Who the hell is what? I think I was 16. Who the hell breaks their hip at 16?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
I know. And it was just like the muscle had like torn off the bone and it like took the bone with it. And so I was like it was a 3-week injury, but it was like when you're 16, who breaks their own hip?
My hip.
Yeah. Yeah. So weird. But that was, I on a lighter note, I'd say that one.
Okay. Holy shit. Holy shit. We're going to go off the air and just talk about how poor apparently we chose your schooling. Me, I'm the guy who benefited from the beers in the draft. Basically, I called you guys out for good things, and I benefited from both of them. I'm Pat Bolger, and the day I would have avoided was I was a latchkey kid, child of divorce. So I was living with my mom, and my mom went to work every morning.
Is that what latchkey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Child of divorce?
Well, no, you came home.
and
You left and came home to an empty house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the morning before school, I was hungry, and of course, a child is hungry.
This is such a sad story.
Is
you
it?
tell all of your childhood stories, and it makes me want to cry.
It cuts you deep because this is like the 3rd time I've heard it.
Oh, have I told it on the show?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then I won't repeat it.
no,
All I
say
did
it,
was-
say it.
I
Because
found
he
a
threw
really
up.
old can of applesauce, ate the can of applesauce, made me sick, threw up while the girl in front of me was reading aloud in grade school class. I threw up on her and myself.
Did you hit her in the back of the head?
I think she got a little splatter, just a little spackle. But most of it landed in my lap. And I was sitting there with my legs closed because I didn't want to open my legs because the puke's in it. My teacher's like, Bolger, go to the bathroom. I'm like, but I don't want to spill all the puke. And he says, just go. So I just opened my legs and it just goes, onto the floor. Yeah, it's just applesauce. And I had stomach ache for weeks afterwards. So that was it.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had applesauce?
I have had it since. I just look at the date
With pork
on the
chops?
can. Yeah, pork chops. Shit.
I will say, as somebody who teaches younger children, we get hot lunch delivered to our Catholic grade school every once in a while, and we get applesauce as like a side sometimes.
Yeah.
And an adult eating it like an applesauce pouch, I'm like, please don't look at me. This feels like like something that me as a grown man should not be doing.
It's
it
like
just
when
feels
you drink
weird.
out of a juice box or something, and you automatically want to put your chin down just like
yeah, you kind of want to like sit on the floor, like getting your
crisscross applesauce.
I would man it up and just like rip the thing open with my teeth and just like crush it in there, just rush it. Another one. Give me another shot.
Just make direct eye contact with the kids. Like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, you punks.
Do as I say, not as I do, you little shit. So there we go. It is a busy week for several of us here at the Packfiller. I do want to say that first off, the 24 Hours of Riverside is this weekend. The race that I am co-race director with. Still time to register. Second off, we have 2 weeknight races this week. Mm-hmm. Well, for Paul, there's one race this week. But who's doing both? Are you doing both, Jackson?
Probably not.
That's what I thought. And the weather forecast is looking a little damp on Wednesday night.
Yeah. I really do love the Wednesday night mountain bike races that we have locally. I raced them last week, and it was a lot of fun. It's just nice to go out and I know that I'm not going to win these or like any of that, so just go out there and just like ride with no thought. It kind of feels like sometimes. So I would do it if we didn't have one of our local road races this week, and 2 if I wasn't sounding how I do currently.
Yeah. I'm on the fence for the Wednesday night. I will be out there, obviously. I mean, but if it's wet and raining, I don't know if I want to race when it's wet and raining anymore.
Yeah,
does that make me a weak man?
I don't know how mountain bikes, but if it was road bike, yeah, you would be. Mountain bikes, I could understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not worth getting wet on a mountain bike. But it's okay on a road bike.
It's okay on a road bike. We've only got 3 more of the road races in this series. And that's what's killing me. If I miss this week, it'd be like I've raced once out of the 6 race 6 or 8 6 race series, and I'd only get 3, and I bought a season pass. Yeah, it's like Sam. I'm like Sam here.
It's contagious.
Yeah, it's stupid. Hey, how has everybody's cycling life been over the past week? How many rides? How did they go?
I mean, I rode 3 times. You did Monday, I did Wednesday, and then I rode on Saturday. I had the intention of Sunday, but I was like, I woke up and I heard David's voice saying in my head, "Oh, just if you ride, it makes it worse." So I figured just take one day off for a cold and then go back. I was gonna start today, but since we were doing our show today, I figured I'll start on Tuesday. Then I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday.
What was the rule that he said? Like in your head, don't ride, or if it's in your chest,
it's in your chest, don't ride.
Don't ride. If it's in your head,
you're fine.
Stay in bed.
Stay in bed. There we
go.
Yeah. Paul, how many did you get?
I can't remember because I had jury duty and I was released. I think I had one day last week in the day, and then Saturday, and then Sunday.
Okay.
I rode.
Oh, you did get out Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Right on.
I got wet.
Yeah.
Definitely
you
wet.
got in that big.
I got poured on.
Downpour.
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit.
I know. I was kind of bummed that I couldn't make it, and then I looked outside, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm okay with it.
I was on my way home, and it just...
Whoosh. Oh. It was like a sheet of rain. It was that mist at first, too. That was bad. I got 3 in. My Thursday evening ride, I chose to go out in the 35-plus mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
I thought to myself I was going to come home and just like, no, I won't ride. It's too windy. But then I went, if there was a race tonight, I'd be riding. So I went out for a ride. And I got blown all over the God's creation, pretty much. And at one point, actually, that's why I was wondering about your cold. The pollen was so bad, I looked down and my tires were yellow. I mean, like Jumbo Visma yellow.
Yeah.
And it was pretty prominent. So, and the next day, I felt a little stuffy. Yeah. So I didn't know if that had to do with anything of it. But we got hit with those winds and now the rain, and so hopefully everything's going down the rain gutter. We can hope. We also have our local stage race coming up, the River City Cycling Classic, a.k.a. the RC3. How's everybody feeling in terms of preparation? Paul's going to be like, I'm going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a ways to go. Well, I haven't ridden all that much, so, but in my category, there's only, last I checked, only 4. So
No shit.
at least I get the top 4.
And your distance, you went up in age groups, so your distance is shorter.
Yeah, really short.
One freaking lap, right?
Yeah, 1 lap, so it's
Wow.
like 28 miles or something.
Holy,
That's quick.
Jesus.
That's really quick.
Yeah, so it's just one lap of that. There is a 10-mile TT,
Yeah.
several hours before, so that should take.
You're going to do all of them?
Yeah. Unless there's people coming, because it is our district championships.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming some people from the west side might come over for just that race, since it's an omnium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then it depends on who shows up. Then I may scratch on the TT.
Oh, okay. Okay. Jackson, you're going up in distance. It's the funny thing is, Paul's got 1 lap. You've got 3, which, what's the distance?
It's 86 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts on that? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like form-wise and fitness-wise, I'm feeling really good. I think that all that is there. I mean, the next week and a half, I'll be kind of training hard-ish. That half of the week, I probably won't be training very hard, because then it's just like, might as well start tapering for it.
Yeah.
So this next week I'll be riding kind of hard, but yeah, I am interested in the distance a little bit. Been thinking a lot about like bottle sizes, because taking a feed in that is kind of difficult. I don't really quite have.
God, you're gonna need one.
I don't know. I might just find bigger bottles and carry all my food with me, is what I'm kind of planning on doing.
Where's the feed zone?
Isn't it that hill coming out of
The finish?
Yeah.
Where it's soon to be, or is it from the start?
I
No,
think
it's at Waverly. That's where the feed zone is. It's in Waverly.
I could have sworn this last year I was at that finish area with bottles.
Maybe there's 2.
I don't know, but maybe we'll have to find out, because I don't. I'm going to find out what Sam and David are doing as well, because I'm going to bring a lot with me.
Most likely, I'll be done by the time you guys are on lap 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just swing back around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Feed, just bring a cooler.
I'll be dropped by then, so I could just hand you my
Whatever.
bottles.
No. But
Here you go.
Yeah.
There. I did my job.
But I'm a little interested about that. I'm really just hoping to just stick with it.
Yeah.
In terms of the group.
For those who don't know this course, this is your classic kind of. It's not a ton of climbing, but it adds up. I mean, I didn't say that.
Rolling hills.
Yeah, and wind and those kinds of things are what play
Farmland.
into it.
It is a course that's built well for me.
Yeah.
It's nothing really steep, nothing really long. It's just those short, punchy climbs that I know I can stick with.
Yeah.
But it's just the duration that I'm
a
little
long
interested
way.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a feed. Okay. What are we gonna? What the fuck are we gonna do after that? I mean, I'm looking at the calendar. We've got the Everett Omnium that before we went on air, it sounded like Paul, you and I are potentially the only ones free that weekend. Jackson, were you? I couldn't.
I mean, I probably am.
The Waples guys are just like, I don't know, and they're both going to be gone, I guess. So that minimizes your team effort, Jackson.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I there aren't a whole lot of races on the calendar in our region.
District TT, July 14th.
I don't have a TT
Wenatchee.
bike.
We can scrape one up.
You can figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's it's so weird and I'd like to know: are we just the only region, or is this kind of a common thing where you get the season's bookended at heavy stuff from
March,
to the second week of June, and then nothing until late August or early August even.
I don't think.
But July is done. Nothing happens in July around here, and I don't know if that's the same around everywhere else, but it's just an odd phenomenon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty keen to find something within that time. I think if we all travel to something, it would be fun again to do that, because I really did like going to Missoula last year.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, there's stuff, whether we have to go to Montana, Idaho, Oregon, those type of places, I'm fine with doing that. But I don't want to be done quite yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm having fun.
And I mean, that is a predominantly road situation. I can't, rule out the fact that there are mountain bike races. There are gravel races that are happening throughout the entire summer. I just find it odd that road decides to cut things back like that. It's just it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, this year I might be more apt to travel for like a mountain bike race or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird lull that we have.
And we also talked about, especially having Sam on earlier, about going alone. And it's so weird to have transformed from somebody who I used to race and train predominantly by myself, and to now it's like going, well, I'm not going if my friends aren't going.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I want to start a race all by myself. I applaud you, Paul, for doing nationals and going to an event all by yourself, starting a lot. There's very little support crew. Your loved ones are not there. Well, you had some loved ones there.
Yeah, I had my sister and my brother-in-law.
But it just seems weird. And is that an important element, or is that just us softies?
I don't know. For me, in all sports, if there's something I want to do, I don't care who's watching or anything. And I've always been that way since Little League.
Yeah.
And I know it bothered my little brother when my parents weren't there. So, for me, it's like I didn't care. I was playing baseball, basketball, or football.
Yeah.
I don't care if nobody was in the stands or not. I'd like playing the game. That was just the way I am. Same with cycling. Now that saying that, we were talking with the Waple brothers about how cool the downtown criterium for Turtle Bloom drink.
Right. Yeah. Unless you're driving.
Yes. Because it's packed with people. And then we started talking about Washington Trust Classic. The downtown criterium used to be like all the way around a kilometer loop, or 6-corner crit.
Yeah.
It was like 5-6 people deep. Packs of 130, 40 riders.
Yeah.
And there is that's a different energy.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
I don't need people there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this year is maybe the first year that I'd be willing to like go to a certain place, have a bike race, but also have a weekend out of it. Because I think that's what's important. And we've talked about this before.
That social dynamic.
Yeah. Because there's a local series in Portland that I have done. And it's like, it's a crit, but it's like, it's on, it's in a park called Mount Tabor. And you go up and then you just rip back down the other side. And it's just that the entire time. And it's hard, but it's really fun. It's like kind of big crowds. Like I was in the Cat 4 group and it was like a big crowd. And that'd be something I'd be willing to go to again, even if it's just one, like I think it's on a Thursday. So go to something like that and then just make like more fun times out of experiencing the area.
Well, that's what I recall. Back in the old days, there used to be that concept where there was, for example, now the Jerry Baker Velodrome, but they called it Marymore back then. There was Friday night track racing in Seattle. So we would leave at a reasonably early time, get over there to race Friday evening on the track. And then Saturday there'd be a crit somewhere, and then Sunday there'd be something else somewhere else. Just individual events. They don't have to be a stage race. And that's what I miss, is just those one-off events, but they would be tied in with another event within the same district or within the same region or within, not a day's drive, an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And that would make it a successful race weekend, not only for the people participating, but for the promoters, because you're going, okay, we're going to get people over here for, I don't know, Volunteer Park, which is a criterium in Seattle. It's just got an illustrious history.
I think it's still going.
Yeah, it is. And then after that, the next day you'd find something somewhere else, and that was really cool. And I don't know, the calendar just doesn't shake down that way anymore, and I miss it. I'm sad. There we go. Depressing. Let's get to the news. Let's get to the news. Headlines with a mention from our friends at Cycle System Online. Your home to learn the skills to master mechanics. Wrench it. Do it for a living. I don't know. Cycle Systems Online. Well, can we all agree that it is over?
Barring some kind of disaster. Yeah.
With a final, I love that you knew exactly what I was talking about. With a final climb that took over 2 minutes on his GC rivals to now extend his lead to over 6 minutes and 41 seconds over second place Geraint Thomas, Tadej Pogacar looks truly unbeatable heading into the final week of the 2024 Giro d'Italia. An additional bonus came in the form of Nairo Quintana finding the Fountain of Youth to claim second place on the stage. So here I'm going to just throw out the questions. You ready? What would it take for Tadej to not finish in pink?
Wow. First of all, I did want to say, by a complete accident, I wore my pink shoes today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So
they're the darker pink, like the
they
Chiclamino.
are like the Chiclamino.
And you're wearing them on the lower half of your body, which means you're going to be fined by the UCI.
Wow. You read into that perfectly. What would it take for him
Almost
to
did
not?
a spit take.
Yeah. What would it take for him to not? Gosh, I think a miracle at this point. I think he'd have to crash. I'm going to knock on wood.
Yeah.
Because
that's what. I didn't want to mention that.
Yeah,
that is what basically it.
Because 6 minutes and 41, right? That's a pretty crazy, right? Like think he would have to blow up in a more astronomical way than he even did in the Tour last year.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen.
Are we looking at a subdued Tadej for the next week?
You don't. I don't know. I mean, that's only he knows.
Mm-hmm.
I think he likes racing his bike and going as hard as he can. That would make sense for the average mortal.
Yeah,
or the rest of the
France
group
is how 5 weeks away.
It'll be about 6 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Let's taper. Let's relax.
And just his gap right now, to put things in perspective, I think it's been almost 30. Gianni Buno, I think it was in 89-90 was the last time that much of a gap.
Wow.
And that was at the finish, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe.
I can't remember.
And that's during the doping period too. So I don't know. We really want to keep track of that. But this is truly when people use like Merckx or he's like Merckx. I think finally this is actually holding. It's like, I was thinking about that. It's like every band is the next Beatles. Remember that?
Yeah.
Listen, they were the very first boy band, and that's that. No one's going to match that.
They were.
Pissed off a lot of people.
No, you're dead on right.
Yeah.
Yeah, except they played their instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't have to dance.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're watching an amazing thing, and Geraint Thomas said, "Yeah, it's just unbelievable. The guy's so talented."
My wife the other day asked me, "Why do you even watch this anymore if you know what's going to happen?" And I was like, first of all, you're kind of right. Yeah. Like, why am I watching this? I know that Tadej is just going to win this whole thing. But then I was also like, I'm kind of witnessing history right now. Like, he is going to be one of, if not the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Like,
you were alive during Merckx /
Yeah. I think about that with like the Messi and Ronaldo period. Like, I was alive during the best ever to play.
But there are other things still going on in the race. We look at the fight for the podium. Geraint Thomas is in second. Danny Martinez just 15 seconds off of him, and Ben O'Connor's just 102 off of Geraint Thomas. Also, is that enticing enough to keep you involved?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm interested more in like the other riders, like Tiberi, who is in the white jersey, or Taman Arensman, those type of riders, because we start to see like what the future's going to look like now. And then I'm also interested in other jerseys, like the Chiclamino jersey, which is pretty much over. But it's interesting to see a new sprinter kind of start to take that mantle a little bit. And I heard a conversation the other day. I forget who the commentators were, but when are they going to start bringing Milan to the Tour with a guy like Mads Pedersen on the team? And so I know. I remember somebody was saying that Mads he would be a killer lead out guy. He never will be that guy. I don't think he will be that guy now because he's at pretty much the top of his game because he's such a long sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
When he sprints, he goes from such a great distance. Like he'd be a really good lead out man for Milan, but it's that team I think is such an interesting dynamic because eventually Milan's going to say, I don't want the Giro anymore. I want the big deal race.
Yeah.
So that's another storyline I'm following.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, how about the resurgence of Julian Alaphilippe?
Nice.
Seeing some of the things that he's been back to doing. I mean, seeing that spark back in his eyes. Is the entire world flipping off Patrick Lefevre right now?
Well, I think Patrick says, he wasn't really bashing him, but he just says, I just don't have the money for him for next year. I mean, basically, he's already said, no, you're not going to be on this team unless you want a pay cut.
Is that legit, or is that just some more bullshit drama to gain sponsorships, to gain people to come to the table?
Maybe both.
And Patrick will help you out.
It could be both.
Something like that.
It
just seems bizarre that he claims to be sharing so much with the rest of us, but a lot of it just seems like absolute bullocks, in terms of what he's doing. And what a management style. I don't know if he's doing this just for the press and for us, but to sit down night after night with somebody like that, would you, if you were offered a pro contract to ride with Soudal Quickstep, would you take it? Or would the emotional roller coaster be too much? Would you rather stay with a Continental team or ride with the emotional drama?
Him.
You would.
Yeah,
you would.
They're winners, and
because
you
the
can
history
endure.
alone.
Yeah, and there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of people who have left Quickstep, and when he was in the Roma things, I'm trying to think of somebody said my best years were with Quickstep. I learned so much. It was tough, but they know the drill when it comes to classics. So God, I wish I could remember. I just heard an interview, and it shocked me. He'd been on 3 other teams outside of that. It was my early years. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, especially a team with such heavy history comes up and offers you a pro contract, you probably are going to take it. Especially they do, like he talks about, he doesn't have a big pocketbook, but that's one of the biggest teams in world cycling, honestly. But when I saw the American Luc Lamperti when he went to that team, originally I thought, oh, that's for like your first big team, because he was on Trinity before, which is a good sized British continental team.
Yeah.
But when he went there at first, I was like, that might be a place where he probably will leave eventually. But I think it's a great place to get your feet under you. It's the best place to learn, I would say, from somebody who rides like he does. He's kind of more of a sprinter build, but it's tough to deny something like that.
Knowing who I am, it would be a bad fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would let it go into my head too much, and I would.
Oh, me too.
I'd be just
Speaking
like,
of teams, I think one that's interesting perspective. I don't think I'd do well in Ineos. Outside, I think the personnel are cool, but the way they do stuff, I don't like that at all. I don't like that structure. This is, I do like structure, but I mean, just the way they do things is just it's never jived with me.
Just the down to the minutia, the organizational, the
I mean, like getting all hung up on little details.
Yeah.
It's just like there's more to it than that.
It's so funny. They've been I read a quote talking about we're now no longer about marginal gains, we're about maximal gains.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I think everybody's in the same boat there, Sparky. But yeah, it's a weird dynamic, especially the fact that a team like Ineos isn't at least it doesn't appear to be investing in the future as much as some of these other teams are.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got a few. I mean, they brought in Arnesman, right?
Yeah.
And then they have Max The American.
Oh, Magnus Sheffield.
Magnus Sheffield. Yeah, Mags.
Yeah, Magnus Sheffield.
Mags, yeah.
They're bringing in some youth now, some Utes.
Yeah.
And so I think they're kind of slowly doing that, and I think that's why G is kind of around to kind of shepherd them a little bit.
I think one thing that team does need desperately is, I heard Adam Blythe say this, is a sprinter. They need, Elie Viviani is in the twilight of twilights of his career.
Yeah.
And he was amazing in his day, but now he's not going to ride with Milan or the other guys or Olaf Koy. So I think that's the thing that they need. That and like a really, really set GC, man.
Here's an interesting thought. Who's farther down if you had to pick between Cavendish and Viviani in a sprint?
I think Cav would win.
I wouldn't even, 100%.
Yeah.
I put my money, I almost mortgaged my house on that.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that's how I'm thinking White, because Viviani was there, left, failed at other places, and came back at the end of it. I don't know why they picked him up.
Yeah.
Maybe he's cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a place to retire.
If you want to take that bet, Paul's number is now at the bottom of your screen. Call him up. And speaking of sprinters, and I'm only asking this because I know you guys have been watching. Has anybody have any idea why Fernando Gaviria sprints from so far out?
Another great lead out, man.
Yeah.
But he's their designated sprinter.
He is.
I was watching the last sprint stage, and he was like 500 meters. He's just like
In a headwind.
Yeah,
And
he
that
did not
stage
play
had
that
a
smart.
headwind.
dude, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Do you think it's a tactic? Do you think it's excitement, nerves? Do you think he's got nothing left? He just finds himself at the front because Movistar hasn't given him a proper train? What causes this man to be out there? He's got a burst of speed, but he's not using it at the right time. And I'm a dipshit watching it in my living room who has a tactical understanding, a tenth of what he does. Why is he doing this? Does anybody have any?
To be honest, he's probably
obviously
on the worst team right now in the Pro Peloton. Looking at them, you just look at them and you think, what are any of these riders really going to do in this race? You don't really see him in the breakaway. You see Fernando Gaviria completely alone in all of these sprints. I mean, he doesn't have anybody hitting the front with him. He's always having to do it himself. So I think he's probably just kind of punching at the wind and hoping he hits something.
Trying to find something.
Do you remember what team he was on when he had all his success?
Was it a Quick Step?
Was he, was he? I thought it was UAE. Didn't he ride for UAE?
Yep. Didn't do squat.
Yeah.
Did not do squat.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Like
it is like if you want
fear of your job to keep you motivated.
That's right. And, somebody who's there again, tactically, Quick Step knows how to do that.
Yeah. Round out the podium. Tade's on top. Who's second and third in 1 week from yesterday?
Ooh, I think it'll be obviously Tade at the top. I think Geraint will keep his second place. I'm worried about Danny Martinez a little bit. I watched him try and go with Tade yesterday, and I thought this guy might not be thinking really straight, because I remember Ben O'Connor did it too, and then he lost all that time.
Yeah.
So
stage 2. Right?
Yeah. But I don't see Ben O'Connor getting that over Danny Martinez, so I think it'll be as we are now.
So you're saying Tade, Geraint, Danny?
Yeah.
Same.
Paul? You do?
Yeah.
I'd like to see some drama.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ben notches, steps up to the plate and maybe eke in there, but I don't see any.
I have to admit, I have not paid enough attention to the parkour and seeing what is happening this week. But it looks like, with the Queen Major Mountain Stage happening on Sunday, the opportunities for somebody like Ben O'Connor to really close it down are...
They're coming. The Stelvio is truncated, but there's a couple other pretty nasty...
No more time trials to worry about, thank God, for them. So... All right. Let's jump ship. Let's jump to tonight's topic. I want to talk tonight, and this just popped into my head, about group training rides, about what to do, not to do. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but you can learn a lot about someone the way they handle themselves in a group ride. personally, as I said earlier in the show, I spent a large portion of my cycling career training alone or with max 1 to 2 other people. Hi, Jack. But recently, thanks to the team and you guys, I'm riding with groups more often. We have a pretty good
rapport.
Yeah, and also I've noticed that this, for the first time in a long time, I'm noticing riders on other teams that we have a rapport with, that we're willing to go out and kind of go out and go on some rides with. Mm-hmm. And I've also noticed that that COVID changed how humans interact. And it's a weird dynamic how the human psyche at least has changed. We're much more combative. We're much more apt to kind of stick to our own kind of a thing like that. And I think the amount of new riders to the sport also, and things that way, are also open to information and discussion. So I'm calling this the Packfiller's opinionated rules of the ride that we will talk about tonight. So I'm gonna, again, as normal, just kind of tee up some questions for you guys, and you can provide your opinions that we will then base solely in fact. Sure, thanks, man. Mm-hmm. Because our opinions should be turned into fact. Mm-hmm. And you can throw in bias, you can mansplain. You can, go to, as Paul would say, use a back in the day premise to start your sentence, anything like that, whichever you want. So to start, because Paul is being kind to play bartender here, Jackson, meeting locations, how should they be chosen? Should they vary? Why or why not? Meeting locations for group rides, your personal experience and opinions.
Yeah. I think they can always vary. I don't really care about that. I think what I prefer a lot is to maybe have the meeting place nailed down the night before we ride.
Yes. Okay.
I like that a lot, just so I don't have to kind of shift my mindset.
Thanks, man.
But I like a neutral meeting place, so like where everybody doesn't have to travel super far.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
Central.
Yeah, central, not neutral. But
unless
central,
it's a very... I'm sorry, I'm already throwing my opinion in, and I got to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But
I will also...
I'm always like, oh, this is what I think.
But I will also say, like, I do like to change it around. Like, sometimes we'll meet at, like, a coffee shop where we all kind of, like... None of us go in, but it's all the same... Nearly the same distance for us.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll go to other coffee shops just because we want to actually, like, enjoy the coffee and the food that's there, and I think that's fun, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Paul, about your ways of choosing locations in which to start. Is it route dependent, or is it centrally located, or how would you do it?
I would say centrally located, but whatever is established. I like to have a consistency. Yeah. That way that, there isn't an added text in the text roll like, hey, well, what direction? We don't know what direction. If that if everybody agrees at 10 o'clock, the spot, at least that's a guarantee. We don't know where the ride's going. So that's just kind of my opinion. I understand changing it up because if you really want a coffee and something to eat, sometimes that may not be on the centrally located area.
I didn't know that you were not technically a huge fan of the centrally located coffee place.
Yeah, I mean, it's drinkable, but it's not enjoyable. I'm not going to waste $4, $3, or whatever they charge. Is it a
second crack roast? Is that what it is?
No, it's just I don't think they have consistent pours.
Okay.
Maybe the people who make it too. Sometimes do it a little funky.
Yeah, it varies. It's not consistent. So, but to me, that's probably the most. If there's one, like where we're meeting up at Rocket Market.
Oops.
Oh, I did mention it.
They don't listen.
Let's say that we met up at Rocket Market.
Let's say in a world.
So
Spaceship Market.
But for me, usually the rides we end up close to downtown. So people are like, well, you got to ride so much further. Well, it's not that big of a deal because I'm getting dropped off before anybody else too.
Oh, at the tail end of it.
Most of our, unless we go south. But
if
you think east and west, I'm always and north. I'm always going to be the first one tailing off.
And we always, this year specifically, have tended to go that way just because we've had really high winds, it feels like, this year.
Yeah.
I've always felt that if it's route dependent. Sometimes if you're saying we're going to go challenge this specific ride, we're going to ride Mount Spokane, whatever it is, and I'm sure everybody has their own areas where they would change the locale just specifically because it's closer to the start of that particular ride. But I've always being at the same place, it does provide consistency and things like that, which is nice. How about ride times?
Hang on.
Oh,
I want
go
to
ahead.
add something to that. I have been in groups where the major of the group rides here, and then somebody says, can you go, if we're riding to do this course, do you mind stopping off here or I'll meet you? I hate that.
I do too.
I hate multi-locations
I'll
because you're
join
not
you at
there
mile 18.
and you're waiting. One place that if you have to wait for a rider, that's fine. I don't want to make pit stops all the way.
And then that's on you to catch up to the group. If you're the person who didn't go to the start of the ride, that's on you to catch up to the group. We don't have to try and track your ass down.
Yep.
Okay. Don't put a beacon on your ass and just like, beep, come find me. How about ride times? And I'm saying this intentionally because Inbound is not here. And if for those of you who don't know who Inbound is, Sam Waples always texts Inbound when he's heading to a ride, usually about 3 to 5 minutes late after the ride. First of all, and I'm a little bit of a diva here when it comes to ride times, especially on weekends, because I need my beauty sleep. I mean, this is not by accident. This takes work.
For sure.
Everything you were looking at is primed and prepared, and every step and coiffed.
Carefully prepared.
Absolutely, and I need my beauty sleep. I'm kind of a little pussy when it comes to sleep. I love sleeping. So the varying of it and things like that. So my first thing is how hard set are you personally on the ride time? Ride starts at 10. How long after 10 a.m. do you hang out?
I'll probably hang out for like 15. I'm pretty.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm like, once you hit 15 minutes, then I'm like, this like 30
Somebody's
minutes
not
is
showing.
yeah.
30 minutes. Jesus.
30 minutes is a long time. Like I said, I'll maybe do 15. But I'm pretty relaxed on that type of stuff.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna all go pretty hard anyways, the way we ride together.
Yeah.
So, 15's fine for me.
Paul, what's your
I prefer to
rule?
be on time, but if somebody like at least acknowledges a good 10, 15 minutes, hey, I'm running late. Is it okay?
Communication.
Yeah,
That's
communication is really
I
important.
need that too.
But not to say, hey, so-and-so said he's going to be here. So how long should we wait?
Yeah.
I mean, because you never know. You got to be conscious about those other guys in there. Because even if you lose your cat in the basement of this 110-year-old building, looking for it in the pockets of who knows where, what, and where.
Just crazy.
Yeah. Which happened to me.
Yeah. Saturday.
Yeah.
I know some people, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know some people who are like 10:01, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
10 o'clock and 30 seconds, I'm gone. I've never been that type of a person. Mm-hmm. And especially now with the communication ability, if you're running late, pull over to the side of the road, slam a text out or something like that and let people know. I think that's only fair.
Well, and I also enjoy riding with you guys.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like get there and be like, screw them. I don't need them anyways.
Yeah.
That's not really why I would go out in the first place.
Well, I can understand being sticky on if you have to be back at a certain time.
Yeah.
That's
I think sometimes that drives some people that say, I got to go at 10. Sorry. I'm going this way. If you guys catch me, this is how I'm riding.
Yeah.
But I got to be back by 2:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Does the start time include coffee, or is that the time that the ride rolls out?
Yeah.
That's the time.
Yeah.
So 10 a.m. is the time the ride rolls out. You want coffee, show up at 9:15 or 9:30.
I will also say something I've noticed over the past year a lot is that I the reason why I text first is not because I feel like I have to. It's because I feel like I get to call like the dibs on what the time is. Because I also agree. I do like the 10 a.m. start because it's that perfect point where it's still earlier in the day, but it's also not too early in the day, and you can still fit a lot of stuff in afterwards. But that's a good reason as to why I'm always like Thursday night. Oh, you guys want to go?
Yeah, the day's not toast.
Yeah.
When you leave for a 10 o'clock ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you get a little sleep. I'll admit, you get a little sleep. How about routes and distances? How should they be decided upon? I mean, I noticed that we're kind of a loosey-goosey group when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Unless it's like, hey, we're going to go ride a loop of the RC3 course because the race is happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's like, where do you guys want to go? I don't know where you guys want to go. I don't know where you guys want to go. I will say, and I don't know if our newest teammate is listening this weekend. I mean, listening tonight. But I will say that part of me was like, what the fuck? Because we all met and we were like, we should not ride in this area. And he's like going, well, I think we should ride up there. We rode up there. It was windy as shit. It was horrible.
Yeah.
A part of me wanted to go like, hey, this is your fault. No, I love it. You know, I'm busting his balls, but you know, it's just kind of like, God damn it. We rode in the windiest, flattest, plateauist place of the entire region.
Well, and sometimes you roll the dice with that stuff because because I come from like with the where I live is like probably the windiest spot in Spokane.
Yeah, you're up on the plateau.
Yeah,
and you said.
Yeah, we went
fucking windy.
Yeah, I said, oh, it's not windy up there, but we did technically go the other way. So you kind of roll the dice with that stuff. But yeah, it was a windy one. When it comes to the routes, though, I'm the worst. When it comes
I am
to
too. I'm a
deciding the route.
follower.
Yeah,
Paul, you're usually really good at it.
No, the only thing for me is like, if I don't have an agenda, like, you know, race coming up or something, and I know somebody else does, I'd rather, if they wanted to like focus on rolling hills, doing a little bit more climbing or flat or speed work or whatever, I leave it up to them. I'll just do whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's just, you know, like, well, this weekend, to me, I think the best thing for me to do, anybody wants to join me, is do RC3 loop at least once.
Are you working Monday?
No, I'm not.
You're not working Monday.
I'm tearing down a race course on Monday.
Well, I'll be there, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just one of those things. And I don't care if it's windy or not, but I think being tossed around, sometimes it takes away some of the joy.
Yeah.
And same with, you're going to get caught in the rain, same with races and stuff. That doesn't bother me. But, you know, that was... actually ended up being a very good ride for us.
Saturday. It was a great ride.
Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just, you know,
But
I came home and I looked at my wife and said, guess where we went? She goes, you didn't go up there, did you? I'm like, yes, we did. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, when, like, we have a way to go up towards that plateau where we went.
Right.
And that's the way we always turn on this street, and so there's never any communication problem.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do, that's where we go to do the Troika Loop, or you know, on our way out to Seven Hills, we get out of town the same way.
Yeah.
And that has to be adapted by the team, so we don't have. We had an incident. Well, I had an incident because I'm so used to you guys knowing how we go up to South Hill.
Yeah.
And the new rider, I'm going to take a right, you know.
Finishing our ride.
Because I'm talking, you know, and I'm like, oh, shit, I forgot. He's not used to
He doesn't know our, I call it the fish ladder, the way we come up the South Hill, because we could crisscross to be able to.
Yeah, we don't even talk about it. We just do it.
Yeah. How prepared do you feel that you need to be for a ride in terms of food, drink, tools, spares? Is it just for you, or should you bring a little extra just in case for somebody else? How responsible are you for just yourself and beyond?
Yeah.
And I hate riding with people who are underprepared.
David?
David?
He's always that way.
Does he?
All the time. He
Sam
never
has
brings
to
food.
bring everything for him.
Yeah, he never brings any food with him.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Sam brings it.
Yeah.
Sam brings everything. His tools. He fixes his bike.
Yeah. Sam brought him
Gives
food.
him a foot massage.
Yeah. Sam brought him food, I'm pretty sure, for Missoula.
I think I watched him brush his teeth once.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll just baby bird it into his mouth. Just,
Sam, come wipe for me.
You're not here.
Yeah.
Balls
Yeah.
will
We can do
be
it.
busted.
But I bring for myself. That's how I always work. I have the bottles exactly the way I need them.
Mm-hmm.
I have the amount of food that I know I will need, and I overestimate it by 1 hour every single time. All my tools, I pack a saddlebag and I don't unpack it unless I need the stuff that's in it. Knock on wood, I don't want that. But that's just how I work. And sometimes, the bike will be a little bit, it has some dust on it, like some, grime, like road dust or stuff like that. But I feel like I always am very prepared for some sort of ride.
Yeah.
At any time.
You're kind of in the same way, Paul.
Yeah, I bring the stuff that works for me. I have no problems handing it out for somebody. Sometimes somebody gets pat me, and it's like, oh crap, I don't have a CO2. I forgot I used the last, because I've done that. It's used my last CO2 and then think I still have one, and I pull it out and it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a problem.
I am so paranoid about that I still, everywhere I go, I know I have at least 2 CO2s and a pump.
I bring a CO2 and a pump too.
Yeah.
Because I know that a CO2
because you're
could
just
fail.
like, oh shit, I slipped and the CO2.
Isn't that what his cell phone's for? You're packing that thing, so that's just like another CO2. That's how I look at it.
Well, I think about 2 flats. Let's say I got
I can't. The last time I had 2 flats, I was probably like, here it comes, like 90, 91, or I think it was, on a training ride coming back from Mount Spokane, and there was a cinder block, and the guy leading had his head down, and he looked, and he goes, "Oh shit!" And I had to bunny hop it and hit both tires on the cinder block.
That sucks.
Yeah.
How about pacing? Is it planned? I mean, because like, for example, this weekend, there were times where the group just kind of went, we go fast now. And there were times when it's like, okay, we regroup because Pat's screaming off in the distance.
I remember me.
Yeah, exactly. How do you decide how it's paced? I'm not going to lie. I will probably never attend a no drop ride.
Sure.
And I know that sounds elitist. I get and the funny thing is I'm the guy who tends to get dropped from our rides. I'm not saying I'm getting shelled all the time. I'm just, a guy whose stomach's touching the top tube or anything like that. But I am saying that there are times when I get dropped and stuff like that. But I don't know if I could attend a ride where everybody's like, oh, somebody's half wheel off. Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus. But there are moments in our rides where nobody says we're going to go hard now. But it just happens. How do you guys equate that? And do you guys plan that, or do you guys come to a ride saying we're going to go hard, we're going to do this, we're going to beat each other to shit, or we're going to just stick in zone 2? Does anybody plan those things, or does it just happen?
I never really plan it. It just kind of happens for me. I mean, for instance, this weekend, there was a moment where we were all just kind of riding in probably the windiest part of the entire ride. And one of us went off the front, went off the front a little bit. And I saw it as like, if you throw a bone for a dog. Mm-hmm. I just saw it and I was like, okay, I might as well just like kind of bear this down a little bit. And then once I caught him, I was just like, all right, I'm going to keep this going. And then that's when I really kept going. Yeah. But just little things like that. I think I like to keep it how I would ride if I were by myself. That's how I viewed very much this Saturday. I was like, I just wanted to keep going kind of as fast as we could for a good majority of it. Yeah. But I don't think it is really planned. I think it's just mostly instinctual. At a certain time, you feel that speed, and then you kind of want to keep on it a little bit. And I think that's what motivates it a lot of the times.
Yeah, I think our team has, and I've been on other teams, done the same thing. That weekend rides are kind of simulated bike races. You don't know. I mean, you work,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And to me, I love that type of training. If you get together and say, okay, we're going to stick at zone 2 for the first half hour. We want to maintain like your FTP for that's not what bike racing is all about, because you could be chatting and all of a sudden somebody blows by you and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'll be out here if I don't, and that is bike racing, and that kind of sharpens the blade a little bit, in my opinion. And I like training rides like that. But there is a time that, you can, if you're up front, I don't know if you've experienced this, but if you're up front when the attacks go.
I've never been up front, Paul.
he
kind of side-eyed me on that one. I want everybody to know who's just listening. Paul kind of side-eyed me and just said, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I was somebody
bad.
once upon a time.
That was bad.
I was somebody. I was a contender.
But you go, and then all of a sudden you get to a point where you look back and you think, that's a pretty big gap. And nothing's said. It just seems like it evolves. It's just this organic thing that, the leaders slow down and the other guys catch. Or if you see somebody drop back to pick somebody, the other guys, no one says, hey, so-and-so got dropped. Let's notch it down. We just seem to like an amoeba, stuff. So, and that's a good group to train with. I think,
I have been in group rides over my life of cycling. I almost said career, where somebody in the group was actually doing a structured training ride, like intervals and stuff like that.
It's weird.
I can't remember how quickly I got away from that group ride, because it was, I consider that almost the ultimate sin. I consider that almost as offensive as somebody in a group ride with headphones in. Because I think if you're in a group ride with headphones in, you better be bookending your ride with a swim and a run, or you're a douchebag. And I seriously am like, if your music is more important than the group dynamic and the conversation, and that the social dynamic of a group ride is a completely thing of its own. And I couldn't imagine somebody saying, I gotta go do 5 minutes at 75% of FTP. I'll see you in a minute. Hey, while he's gone, let's turn left. Because I just think that's a douche move.
Well, and I'll put an amendment to, I understand larger groups. I don't like bigger than 6. That seems to really, as in size.
Yeah.
But like the other day, if somebody wants to do, like I'm going to do, like Sam and I went out, and he needed to do 6 3-minute efforts. I'm like, yeah, I'll stick on your wheel as long as I could, that type of stuff. That's fine. And he backs off, but we don't go from, 28 mile an hour, 3 minutes, and then go down to like 14 and did it. Oh, that just drives me insane. It's there, like a zone 2 type of pace. And then you ramp it up. I'm going to go fine. And then it's a workout for me too. But yeah, when you have a big group and some guys like, slow it down, screaming from the back.
Yeah.
I'm going beyond my, 180 watts, and I've been in rides like that. And it's like, that's your problem, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you later,
Yeah.
And you watch them, they have this, like, how many watts, they get over the top of the hill and then they're still maintaining this watts. And so they're pulling up front and there's like there's no continuity when somebody, it's just selfish riding. So
how about as there are riders who get dropped, what should the policy be, in your personal opinion? Again, we're a personal opinion here, on how many times a person gets dropped on a group ride. And I'm going to say it in terms of the point where they're on their own.
I don't know if I ever really feel like anybody's on their own. I think that you get to a point in a group ride where everybody goes, and then once that kind of section is over, it's weird how rides work, though, how you kind of ride a certain section and then it just kind of comes to an end.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just a feeling. And you don't stop. You don't have, or you can stop, but typically we don't. You just kind of roll a little bit lighter. You just ease up a little bit, and then the other person catches up, and then you kind of keep that pace for a little bit until everybody kind of just comes to another point where it's just, oh, you continue on with that pace. It's not really like, oh, like, screw them, they're on their own. I feel like, at least for the experiences that we've had, it's just kind of like, oh, we stick together and then we continue on again and do it again. And then some people will get dropped and then we'll come back together.
I guess what I'm asking is it also takes a little bit of humility on the rider getting dropped to know when you are riding with some people who are at a level who are just feeling better than you are that day. And to be able to have the humility to go, whoa, you guys go on ahead. I'm good. I know I got my stuff. I've got my phone. I've got my way to get home. I am not in this category of riding, and I with the no drop mentality, I don't want to bust balls, but I am going to bust balls because I think with the no drop mentality, sometimes there comes a point where it's going to get dropped is a way you become a better rider.
I get what you're saying. You
need to be able to work to, next time you might stay a little longer. Next time you might stay a little longer. And then, there are some times when you catch the group and they immediately go back to full pace and they don't give you the time to recover. And that's a group dynamic issue. But sometimes you need to have the humility to go, wow, that was brutal. I made it this far into the race. I'm going to turn around here, or I'm going to turn here, or I'm going to just keep going the pace of the group and handle it.
I get what you mean, and sometimes that's the hardest thing. I mean, it's the hardest thing for me sometimes when you don't live up to like something that you could or something that you wish you could in terms of comparison to the others.
But there are sometimes some riders I don't think who know that it's okay to admit that you're not up to snuff. Yeah. Because, and this is going to make me sound like an old man again, but it's okay to take the L.
Yeah.
And know that I'm not as fit as you guys are, or as fast as this group is. It's been cool to start with you guys and ride with you guys as long as I can. I've reached my limit. That it doesn't seem like that happens as often anymore.
Because that's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
truly, it's a hard way to learn, but it is the best way to learn the boundaries of yourself and also how to get to that level.
Yeah,
because you get to learn from how other people's actions are. I mean, that's what I've had to do over years and years, is just learn that I'm like, you're gonna get your teeth knocked in quite a few times, but after a while, you'll be there.
I think this is gonna come off elitist, but if you want to race, you don't. There's no need for no drop rule.
No drop rides.
Yeah, that's like we've been talking about. That's how you learn. And when I first started, I fell in quickly into like some Arrivee guys and some, like even Borky and stuff when I was just starting out, and I got my teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
But that's just that desire to push beyond those boundaries, and I've been left behind. And that's just the way it is. It's like all I say is like, fuck, next time I'm not going to let, what did I do wrong? That's part of the learning process. But if you want to go out and there's nothing wrong with a no drop ride. And we used to, this one team that I was with, we do that every Monday because we had a huge women's team and a men's team. And then we could share some stuff with those that are new, because a lot of the women that were on that team were brand new, and they didn't understand or even riding in a pack. And
the dudes,
and we had a couple of, most of ours were experienced guys that branched off from Arrivee back in the day. Chris Lucas and all that before Team Spokane. So the thing is, if you dedicate one, because we were riding 7 days a week back then, so dedicated one day, no drop, that's great. But it sounds selfish. I don't want to be a part of that group on a weekend, because I got to go full gas. Whatever I have in my tank, I'm going to empty it.
And I don't want this to turn into an elitist douchebag kind of thing. But because I will say that, and it makes me sometimes wonder why these types of things are why road cycling has experienced a decline, because there's a learning curve, because there are, and yes, I'm going to sound again elitist, old school douchebag, but with road cycling there is a amount of learning that you have to establish, and I don't want to say dues to pay because that just sounds even worse. But there are times when you're going to we talk about getting your teeth kicked in. Mm-hmm. That is not obviously not literal,
yeah.
but there are times when you're not the fastest person, and you need to understand that these things take time. Jackson, you said it. It's taken multiple years to get to the point where you are. I don't think people want that. People are willing to handle that anymore. They want to be an event where they are timed and they get their ribbon, and then they get to go home and say, I was 58th in my age group. Whereas in road cycling, I was in a crit. I got dropped in the third lap and they pulled me and I went home with dick.
Yeah. It's a sport that I have very much learned, and I've kind of come to the realization over the last year for sure, that you have to have a pretty strong mentality to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to know that, like, because there's been a lot of races where I've finished and maybe I haven't done as well as I wanted to, and I've been super hard on myself for a little while, and then you just kind of get over it. You have to, like, really have to be, they say it all the time, but you have to have a memory like a goldfish. You have to be able to forget it immediately.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really hard because people can be really hard on themselves. I'm really hard on myself. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy.
I'd like to hit 2 points. One, to agree with that. It is tough. But when it comes to a ride, when you join a ride or be a part of a ride, I think if you know these people are going to be, they're racers, people that want to race, then it's going to be tough. But there is a group called the Morning Ride that I used to do quite a bit every day, and it was very spirited. Yeah. But there was people that we would wait for. Yeah. And stuff. So, but getting to the mental, you were talking about the mental part of it. I'm going to ruin the true phrasing, but Bob Roll had a book came out, his very first book, Bobka, but we say it in America, Bob Key.
Yeah.
And somebody interviewed him saying, what is it about racing bikes that, tell me about that. And he goes, well, 97% of the time you are suffering, you hate it, you're wondering why you're out there, all the conditions are terrible and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, why in the heck would you do that? And he goes, because the 3% of the time, that's heaven. You ride for that 3%.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that mentality, not saying that, then get out of here. It's like, I understand. It's for a lot of people, that's not why they ride bikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're out there.
They're
like, hey,
tiers.
look, did you guys see that moose up there? And that's fine. But I tell you what, when I'm behind, like, you guys' will and I'm suffering, I don't care if there's a moose. I'm just trying to get the next breath.
Yeah.
Some type of thing. And I like that. Yeah. Just for me.
Continuing, pulling it back to group rides, my final question's on the group ride topic. How about rides when you want to bail? How do you weasel your way out of a ride that apparently everyone but the person you really either hardly know or kind of don't want to hang around with? How do you bail on those rides? Have you guys ever had a moment? I'll give an example. I drove to a ride start once. And I got there to the coffee shop, and there was one other person, and I didn't really like the person, and I lied my ass off. I said, I forgot my helmet at home. I'm going to go get it. And then
so you didn't even start the ride?
I never came back. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Wow.
Have you guys ever, am I the only one who's ever just totally bailed on a ride because it's like, I don't know if I want to ride with this person. Really?
Was it the only guy on that show?
Yeah, it was just because everybody else bailed.
Huh.
Oh. And I was just me and that one person.
Oh.
None of you guys have done that? None of you guys have found a way out of a ride? Because, wow, you're all so fucking saintly that you're just like, no, I love everybody. I love everyone. It's God made us.
No, I just never been in that particular situation, so I don't know how I
really?
can handle it. No.
You've never been in a moment where you're like just going, I don't want to freaking be here.
Not on a bike ride. No.
What?
I mean, like, I get out of bike rides because, like for Sunday, I was not feeling very well in the morning.
No, we knew you were just bailing on Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I understand that happens a lot to me. A lot of people are like, it's just Paul? God, I can't make it.
His cat went through a hole in the cupboards, for Christ's sake.
What's that, honey? Yeah. Oh, it looks like I got some yard work to do.
His guy just said his cat went through a hole in the cover to get away from him.
Yeah. No, but like they're, yeah. No, I get out of rides for like genuine reasons. It's either like sickness or I just I can't go, stuff like that. I've never really been like, oh, this one person's coming, I'm not making it today.
Okay. Yeah. I'm the only asshole.
Yeah, so far.
Again.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll give you a tap on the shoulder.
It's just a pat.
I'm bailing.
Yeah. That's that guy. Total douche. During the ride ethics, how often do you point out potholes or road obstructions?
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
Every time?
As long as I see them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are times when I see bumps and I'm like, oh, that's not a road, a wheel damaging bump.
Yeah. Well, then I don't.
Or if you assume everybody's on your wheel.
Raised a manhole cover, I point out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Glass.
Yeah, like the obstruction in the road that's worthy enough.
Okay. I'm kind of picking on a specific demographic of the group ride, in case you can tell. Because we're the people who are just like going, car left, car back, car front, car in my mind,
slowing.
car in my childhood
My
memories.
favorite, slowing.
Yeah, slowing. Just everything. Pothole, stick, tree, gopher, sunny skies.
Yeah.
And how much is too much?
Northern Lights.
How much is too? Yeah, how much is too much?
I think
it's a trend that it's too much.
Mm-hmm. I will do this, like put my hand up and down, like just to let other people know. Because like, for instance, there was a time this weekend where you, Dad, were coming up kind of quicker behind me, and I saw that a car had started to slow down, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody was like, knew that there was like a pace slowdown, because sometimes depth perception is weird in that. So I'll do that, but I'm not going to be like, oh, like left turn, clear, like like everybody can look. If one person's going, it's probably clear. So there are little things that, like, you know.
Or if you get to there are times when I get to a 4-way stop and I'm like going, yeah, we're good. Nobody's coming. Let's go.
But I think common sense, I think other people have, you know.
It seems like it's overkill, though, sometimes in group rides where it's just like, you know, plus people have their Garmin sensors on their rear lights and shit like that. They're going beep, 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 beep.
I also think it kind of,
annoying as shit.
I bet you guys probably have an opinion on this. It probably kills a pack dynamic mentality in a race as well. Yeah. With so many people calling out so many different obstructions and slowing and like speeding up. It probably makes people think they don't have to think in a race.
Don't get me started on people calling out attacks.
That happens locally a lot.
Shut the fuck up and pedal harder.
It happens a lot here.
Yeah, I hate that shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're at the back of the field and you're yelling because somebody's attacking, you should be going faster at that point in time. You shouldn't have the energy to do it. And Jackson, you're a taillight guy.
I am.
You're a flashing taillight guy. Sam uses one. I have one, but I forget to turn it on. And I only turn it on in areas when I know it's kind of flat light or something like that. What are your guys' philosophy on taillights in a group ride?
I obviously use one.
Yeah.
I do it mainly for peace of mind, not like I know that this is the brightest light in the world and everybody in like it's a coat of armor.
Burns your eyes or something. Like it protects.
Yeah, like I understand that it's more of just like that's a weird red flashing light. I probably won't go there. But I also I think you got to find the right one. I think that I like mine because it's rechargeable and it doesn't make any noise or anything. I do also get the people though that are willing to like get one that have cameras in it. Like, but I think that it's fine. I'm
saying also for the others in the group sometimes because there are some that are so flashing that you're riding that person's wheel and it hurts.
And that's why the one that I've chosen is much brighter farther away than it is up close. I've noticed.
How is that done?
It's some sort of crazy technology.
Magic.
Yeah, okay. Because yours doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But there have been some riders I've been riding behind where it's like the timing of it is basically turning me into some sort of a zombie. It's just like it's giving me a subliminal message. Next thing I know, I'm,
I think it's a personal choice.
Vegan.
If somebody wants to do it, there is times I think it's very important, especially late fall, early spring,
flat
when it's
light,
dark.
yeah.
I
Solo
think
rides.
it's pretty important. Yes, I do not have one. I don't know if I'll get one, but a lot of our stuff has reflective stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even winter wear and stuff has.
Yeah.
I have a Ossos kind of a fleece type jersey that it looks solid black, but it's kind of perforated and there's reflective all over. Yeah. You don't notice until light hits it, and it's like lights up. It's pretty funky.
Our leg warmers do.
Yeah.
Are you obligated to pull in a group ride?
Only if you play. I mean, if you start attacking on hills and at opportune moments and sit in the rest of the way, you have to pull.
Yeah,
it's a shared effort.
Okay.
I've ridden with guys that'll just sit, and then here comes a hill and they just attack.
Launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Talk to me about random people jumping into your group ride on the road. Have you ever experienced that, where somebody's just like a random cyclist who just jumps into your group dynamic?
Yeah, I've had one that's even weirder. Back when I lived in Portland, I flew by a guy and he got on my wheel for a good 45 minutes, and I was like, "This is really weird."
Did he tell you he was there?
No.
See, that's fucked up.
And then
that's fucked up.
That's weird to me. I think that if you don't know the person or if you don't say anything, it's kind of it's weird to me. I'm not a tool.
Yeah, that's a permission thing, man.
Yeah.
That is.
Because then out of nowhere, this guy that was in Portland comes around me and he goes, "Oh, thanks for the pull," and then he just dropped away. It was like, who the hell? Where? I've never met you.
You didn't know he was back there?
No, it was really weird. I don't like things like that. I find that this is a personal moment. You gotta let me know.
Unless I know you, you shouldn't be jumping into my group dynamic.
Yeah.
And I've found that I've caught group rides. Like, I remember, I can't when it was, but I do remember I caught a Badlands group ride, and I made a point to go past them.
Yeah.
And then at a point in time, I was like, going, "Am I going to stay ahead of these guys? Because if not, I'm going to turn." Because I don't want, because I didn't know them. I didn't know the riders. If it was a bunch of people I knew, I'd have been like, "Hey, guys, what's going on?" Blah, 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 blah. Then it becomes a group ride. But if you don't know them, that's fucked up. Am I wrong?
Yeah, actually, Scott that rode with us there for a while, several years back. We were doing the RC3, the Liberty School loop, and we did 2 of them, and we came across a group ride. And it was like, well, that's strange. We rode up on the backside. But I don't believe in getting into their pace line and doing that.
Yeah.
So we kind of hung back a little bit. They were going fast enough on the flats where it was kind of hard and awkward to go around. Yeah. And once it raised up, I mean, we were just doing our own thing. And a couple of them bridged up to us, which was fine with me.
Yeah.
And they were willing to work and go through what we were doing. We were just trading off, doing a chop, finishing the last 10 miles at full cry. So, yeah, if they wanted to join in, that's fine. And I don't have a problem with that. But to hop into a group and mix it up, weird. That's screwed.
Good. I'm glad to know I'm okay.
Yeah. It feels a little weird.
I've had people on a solo ride get on my wheel, and I don't care. I don't care what they do, because when I slow down, I'll slow down. And it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing anyway. So, but, I mean, yeah.
I believe we can come away from this topic with just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah. There are many levels of dictum.
Yeah. It really, and it's like there are social norms in any sort of situation.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a weird situation, of course, but they're also not really that different.
And there are a lot of bike riders, probably several of them in this room at the time, who are a little socially awkward. And, we're nerds when it comes down to it, the sport. And so, maybe we just don't get it.
Maybe.
But we try.
Yeah.
And when we don't know, we ridicule.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's jump to tonight's segments brought to us by our friends. I'm going to say it, Ambassador Cycling. Sam's not here, but I want to plug the importance of proper bike fit. Without it, you go slower, hurt more, and potentially cause bodily damage. Get your bike fit at ambassadorcycling.com. You're welcome, Sam. So tonight we have 2 segments. You guys both wanted to ride the dance, and so basically I've got to go to who wants to go first? Is anybody
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. I had it on Changing Times with Paul Main. Paul, I love your segments, and I'm gonna change this tempo to add a little bit of like a modern music at the end, because right now it just sounds like you're just this old guy who's talking about the days when you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
What you got for us, Chief?
Well, I talking to Sam last week when we were riding, and I could see his frustration of racing the Pro 1-2, which he used to perform very well at.
Yeah.
But he's married and has 40 hours. And I think we all fall into this trap.
Amen.
And it's that fall from grace type of thing. And I think a lot of people get disenchanted with racing bikes completely. You know, and he fell back to the 2.3s, and he's like, yeah, they're strong, but there's, you know, we were talking about the dynamics of that. What happened to the 2.3s used to be different than they are now. And it's because, well, I think COVID created an interest with Zwift riders, so there's a lot of people. Packs are a lot smaller. Like if you do local races, you can move up faster without. I mean, I never saw a pack smaller than probably 50 people until the 90s. I mean, I was racing, and it was just like you had to put your entry in to get into the race, or else if it's too late, kind of like
what we're seeing with gravel
races.
Like that.
It was oh my God, it was a fight. So. I think it's just, you know, for me, and I started thinking about all the people I used to race against, and they're not racing anymore. And I think it's a bitter and jagged little pill that you have to swallow when you realize whether it's age or your lifestyle or what's important in your life. And the thing that keeps me going is that I just have to accept this is where I'm at right now. And I don't want to be a sandbagger, but I don't want to pay $30 and be spit out the back either.
Yeah.
Amen, man.
And so it's Sam's probably in a tough place right now because it's still fresh. And I remember when I was at the top of my game and finally making that decision to scale back. And it took me about 3 or 4 years, you know, getting in trouble because I'm going out for 8-hour bike rides and not doing my stuff at home because down deep, I just need a little bit more time, and then I can compete. And I still have my 40-hour work week, and my wife and my kids. It doesn't work, and you just got to accept this is where your home is right now.
And you know, it's so much easier for those of us who have entered the age group realm, where you've gone past categories. You know, Cat 1, 2, Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4. You enter. I'm in an age demographic, and that changes it. Sam's not at that point. And there are people in Cat 2s who are training full-time, you know.
Part-time or no job at all.
Yeah, and full bore. And the rest of us are going, wait, this isn't fair. I got to work a 40-hour work week. I got to do these kinds of things. And that's a tough, that is a tough pill to swallow. That is a tough pill. Jackson, you're going to be a Cat 2 soon. Anyway.
Yeah, hopefully.
No, dude. I mean, it's also a matter of picking your battles, too, I think, you know, depending upon what kind of race calendar you want to pick and things like that. And
it is tough with their sparse little calendar as it is, too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sucks ass. Don't be a bike rider. Style Points with Jackson Bulger. You were just going to give you the whole intro.
All right.
It is short, though, isn't it?
It's the perfect amount.
Yeah.
I decided to talk about skin suits this week because I know that some individuals in this room don't really like to put their skin suits on.
I am horrified at how I look in the mirror, Jackson.
Well, and that's why I choose to talk about it because
they don't make a club fit skin suit.
Because I find that we.
I need to see it. It's like this flannel.
Yeah,
but it'll look good.
Yeah. But I find that the importance of skin suits has definitely grown quite a bit. We're starting to see that it is genuinely like a good advantage when it comes to aerodynamics. And I guess it kind of goes back down to more questions that I like to. I like everybody's personal opinion when it comes to this type of segment, because I think that style is so personal and what everybody likes to wear is so personal. So do you guys like to wear a skin suit, period? Well, I know we already kind of have one answer from you.
Oh, yeah, I joke around a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I am personally self-conscious about how I look in a skin suit. I'm a fucked up human being. I mean, I'm maybe 10% body fat, and so people are going to go like, Jesus, Bulger, get off, just stop it. Yeah. And I need to.
Have a salad.
Right? Yeah. So that's what helps when my friends say these things. But I've worn them since the 1980s.
Exactly.
And so I don't. Yeah, I'll pull one on. But,
yeah. Paul, are you skin suit guy or more jersey shorts guy?
I have no problems with skin suits. The latest one, because of my age and stuff, and I have creper skin, that this one is like paints onto. I'm like, Jesus, you could see.
Oh shit!
I mean,
it
it is a strange.
Oh no, I haven't tried it on yet.
Boy.
It's
boy.
It's
Oh,
great.
no.
It's a good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
And it like the other one would kind of like girdle me in,
Yeah.
And it's not that bad, for a middle-aged guy, or middle-aged, I'm late-age. Geriatric. For a geriatric guy, it's not that bad. But this, I put this one on, I'm like, I'm in the mirror going, oh, God.
Really?
Maybe in my tuck, let's see, what does it look like in aero bars? Jeez, I got a spare tire. So...
Okay.
But yeah, I will use it definitely.
Yeah.
Stuff, but I'm not afraid.
Because
I think that's the key. Your last three words you just said. I'm not afraid. Yes, I don't think I look sexy in a skin suit.
I don't think anybody does.
I'll have to ask my wife tomorrow on our 30th anniversary when I come to bed. No, sorry.
Do you like me?
Get that thing up. I'm working at it.
Skin suit.
It's going to take 30 to 45 minutes to get out of this. I do promise you that.
Little help here.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
Oh, the seams are popping. When is the proper time to put on a skin suit? Are you going to put on a skin suit for a road race, or are you going to put on a skin suit for a crit? Because I think the wording used here is a very special one.
Yeah.
Because I think that I would never put a skin suit on for a road race, but I would put on a speed suit for a road race, because our new one has pretty a good sized pocket,
full zip in the front too.
And I think I've come to the decision that for our RC3 road race, I probably will wear it because it holds what I need, and it's that advantage that I hope for. So I think that I will probably decide to go with that, honestly. But it used to be crits only.
Yeah.
But
you look at the Pro Peloton now, 99% of those guys. I mean, they're not.
It's
not
all speed suits.
in jersey and shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, wow. I mean, I guess it depends on the length of the race. I personally feel more comfortable in a jersey and shorts, so that I might be more apt to do that. I'm not going to lie. I personally prefer long sleeves. I just like the comfort of a long sleeve jersey. Even when it's super light in the fabric, I don't know why. I have hairy arms, and I like to cover them. I do. Like I'm wearing a sweater.
Paul, are you time specific on your skin suits?
Always TTs, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah,
crits, for sure.
The crits, it depends how many suits I have, because the potential of blowing out my TT. If I have one, then if I crash in a crit, then I'm screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, because you only buy one usually skin suit.
I used to buy two,
Yeah.
so I'll probably order another one next year.
Yeah,
now it's just
probably
TT, and then
the
next year I use like last year's TT one for my crit and the new one for.
That's a good idea, because I did blow mine out last year, and I was like, shit, I want another one.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's how I do it. Crits for sure. I mean, logically, I was sitting there thinking a 29-mile road race for state championship.
Probably good.
I don't need a jersey, but I don't think I'll have the condition to go off on a break anyway, so you can worry about it. So
I get you.
Yeah.
And then my last question to kind of wrap this up is, do you like how skin suits have changed over the years from really just like looking like a jersey and shorts to now we see this speed suit thing where it's a jersey and a pair of shorts, but it's not. It's also a skin suit. Because I have learned that I haven't raced in this one, but the previous skin suit we had, I really enjoyed, but I would never race in it past an hour. This one is such a different, it feels like it's suited for longer distances. And so I personally enjoy the speed suit now more than I do the skin suit.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear of people who have worn more than I have. Do you like how they have changed over the years?
There are things that I like about them, and then there are things that I don't. One of the things I've never liked is how the low collar concept became.
Yeah.
It's exposing your collarbones to a certain point. I don't know why. I like a little higher zip of a collar, but I understand it. It's about aerodynamics. If you unzip the collar down a little bit, you got this flapping fabric on your shoulder. So but no, I'd be more apt to wear them as time goes. It makes more sense now that you've got pockets. Now that you've got the ability to take a piss, you can unzip without bending over and touching your forehead to your knees to be able to take a piss. So that helps.
Yeah.
That factor, and getting into my original skin suit was. You almost needed to lube yourself up.
Shit.
If you're a little sweaty and it's like, oh, God. And
yeah.
We always changed in cars.
Yeah.
And that you got a steering wheel in front of you and it's like, Jesus, I can't get in.
Yeah.
And then you get just your shorts and your bushes hanging out and stuff like that. And you have to step out of the car and you're like wrestling and you're like folding yourself into these things. The speed suits, the first one
and
I ever
your numbers
had,
pinned on incorrectly, and you tear your skin suit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
But the first speed suit I had was my former team. It was sponsored by Castelli, and it had small little pockets, like you could put gels and stuff.
Sure.
And that, just having that little opening, full zip down, and opening is a lot easier to get into. And it's,
I haven't tried it yet. I got to try it on.
I really like it. I'm really excited to ride it.
I had 2 beers tonight, so I'm not going to try it.
Don't eat for a couple of days. I'm just telling you.
Don't look at me.
But that's it.
Okay. I'm going to go with a shorter outro tonight, the mellow outro, because the Final K is too big of a Final K. Because I was going to ask you guys about cycling tattoos. And I'm going to hold that off for a week.
Tough for us.
Because I'm with the 2 guys. I'm with the 2 guys who are tatted up here. And, and I need that advice. I think it'd be kind of an interesting way about what brought you to the tats, what they mean, the importance. Do you regret them? Can you even see them? Hi, Jackson. But things like that.
I forget about it.
So I'll bring those, Bubba. And do you notice this outro really kind of brings me down in the voice? And I kind of
get that.
It's like, thanks, everybody.
It's like when a kid's freaking out and you whisper in their face, they start to get really quiet.
Do you do
this? Is public radio. And you're pretty nice there.
We'll catch you next week, everybody. Hey, grab your close one and hug them tight.
I like your sweaty balls.
Night, everyone.